One day in Mrs. Wise's 4th grade classroom, the students learned about the importance of elections and how they are performed. Mrs. Wise was very excited to teach this lesson because she absolutely loves politics. To start the lesson off, Miss Wise defined to the class what an election is. She said, "An election is one way leaders are chosen." She then said, "Today we are going to go through the election process and have our own election in our classroom. First of all, we need to discuss why we are going to have an election. I have noticed that there are a lot of classroom jobs we need to get done on a daily basis, like a paper passer and a pencil sharpener, so I think we should have an election to see who can be my teacher helper and help me assign different classroom jobs." Miss Wise was pleasantly surprised to see that the students wanted someone to help her assign these jobs as well. Miss Wise then said, "We are all going to refer to ourselves as citizens of this classroom." Citizens are when people are members of a particular place. They belong to that place. For example, to become a citizen of the United States, you have to be born in America, or you can become one through a process with the law. Just like we are citizens of the United States, we are citizens of our classroom because we belong in this classroom and can consider ourselves members or a part of this classroom. The students really seemed to understand the concept of citizens, and that encouraged Miss Wise. She then had the students get into groups and discuss together which 2 students in their classroom would make great candidates for the job as teacher helper. Mrs. Wise described to the students that candidates are the people who try and want to be elected for the position. In this case, it would be the teacher helper. The students discussed eagerly in their groups who should be candidates and even made proposals to their classmates about why they should be elected. The class finally agreed on 2 candidates, Billy and Johnny. The class knew that these boys were nice, respectful, and trustworthy, but they wanted to know more about how they would handle the job as teacher helper and how they would be good leaders before the students actually voted. To figure out who would be the teacher helper, Mrs. Wise suggested that the classroom held a debate. A debate is when people discuss the same topics and answer the same questions but have different ideas. During this time, Billy and Johnny stated why they thought they would do a better job at teacher helper. Billy thought he would because he was more organized, and this would help the teacher keep the jobs in order. Johnny tried to persuade the class that he would be more fit for the job because he would be fair and make sure the jobs rotated throughout the classroom. After the debate, Mrs. Wise said, "Okay, class, it is now time to vote on ballots." Ballots are pieces of paper where the voters write down who or what they vote for. Ballots are secret and classified information. The students all quickly wrote down if they either wanted Billy or Johnny to be their classroom teacher helper on their ballots. Once Mrs. Wise collected the ballots and tallied up the scores, she announced, "Johnny is the winner!" Johnny was very excited and honored. Even Billy was happy for him. Since that day, Mrs. Wise's 4th grade class is more organized, fair, and manageable, not only for Mrs. Wise, but for all the citizens of her classroom.